Hello. Hello, everyone. It's Stacy Wooten. Hello. And hello, everyone, am having some reverberation. It's Stacy Wooten. Hello. And hello, everyone, am having some reverberation. It's Stacy Wooten. And hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Let me have a text if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Let me have a text if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Let me have I always have something going on, don't I? I always have something going on, don't I? No. It's public, Katie. I always have something going on. Let me see. No. It's public, Katie. You guys, this should be a public, let me see. Public, Katie. You guys, this should be a public viewing. This should be a public viewing. Okay, so let me know what's going on. Because I'm having issues. Why do I have issues on every? Okay, I need for you guys to tell me what do you hear and what do you see. That will help me out a lot. I'm going to get on my own phone so you can tell me what do you see and what do you hear. Because I have turned down my mic so you can tell me what do you see and what do you hear. Is that better? I have turned down my mic so you can tell me what do you see and what do you let me see. What do you guys say? I have turned down my mic. Oh, I sound like gibberish. Let me see. What do you guys say? I have turned down my mic. Oh, I sound like. Let's see. Okay, what do I sound like? Do I sound okay now? Do I sound better, you guys, before I invite my special guest on? I don't want to invite her on, and then you guys are telling me that I'm not clear. Okay? So I think I'm better. I don't see any messages from you guys, so let me have a text or two to let me know if you guys can hear me and if I am clear. I am Stacy Wooten. I am your marriage facilitator and trainer. And tonight we're going to discuss part 2 of dating by default. And I just want to make sure that I am clear before I invite our special guest on this evening. And I'm looking for comments and I don't see any right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and invite Katie on, and hopefully we will be okay. So I'm going to ask her to join me and allow her to tell me what she hears on her end. Okay. And again, this should be public. This should not be for friends only. It should be a public viewing. Katie.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Now, Katie, you said you thought this was friends, but I opened it up to the public.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. No, I was looking at Facebook and you know
What did you say?
how like when it's public it has that little, it looks like a little earth, and that's the setting that it's on when it's public, but on when it's just for friends it'll show like two little people, like their
Okay.
silhouettes.
Okay. Well, what did I just do, Katie? Let me see.
I was asking somebody to check.
And that's what I've been trying to do on my end. Because at first I was sounding like gibberish. So then I had to clear that up. And now I am hoping that if some of your fans
Yeah.
can tell us what do they see, and then that will help me on my end.
Okay.
Because
Let me.
has anybody said anything?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Okay, you guys. We're hoping for we're asking for a little help this evening. We're trying to see if did something correct. This should be public and not private. Okay, Katie,
Yes.
I just changed it. Now tell me, what do you see?
Okay, let me go back.
Okay, you guys. While Katie finds out all of my faux pas, this is what happens when seniors don't
Yes,
stay in touch
it's there
with,
now.
okay, when seniors don't stay in touch with technology. Now here's the deal. You guys know that I have been doing Thoughtful Thursday for over a year now. And you would think by this time that I would have it down. So last week, what I found out was that my settings were just friends. Okay, so I thought I went in and changed it and make it public because Katie has so many friends. They want to hear from her, and I want to make sure that Katie friends hear from her too. And so this is just a sidebar while we get our technology together. That now this should be open to the public for everyone to view.
Yes, it is. I see the little earth.
And tonight, you guys, we are doing part two of Dating by Default. And this is my very special guest, Katie Moore. So,
Hi.
Katie, how have you been today?
I've been good today. Just looking forward to our interview and
Okay.
seeing what God has for me to share.
That's exactly how I feel. So God, hear our prayer that
Yes.
we want to have a message for
Yes.
others, so they can feel strength and encouragement by our words this evening.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So amen to that. Okay, everyone. Again, I am Stacy Wooten. I am a marriage facilitator, trainer, CEO, author, blah, 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 blah. And all of those things really don't matter because let me tell you what I actually do. I am a child of God, and this mission that I'm on now, this journey that I'm on now that I've retired, is to serve God and to serve others and to help others along their journey. And my primary focus is for is to focus on relationships and couples who are either married, um, couples who are thinking about getting married. And if I can help them along the way, that is what I am here to do. I am also here to help singles as well, to help single people, to empower them, to have conversations with them, to have to be objective, and to be able to listen to them as well, because a lot of single people are looking for um, advice. They're looking for someone who has experience in the dating world. And back in the day, you guys, okay, that was back in the day, but I was, and yeah, that was a long time ago. But just, some things don't change. All right, so we're moving right along this evening. That was my side note. I usually thank God, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I usually thank all of you guys for joining me. And I want to do that this evening as well. And I am looking at the phone for comments. So I see a Valerie De Leon.
Yes.
And so, okay, she says, I see the friend icon. Valerie, keep looking. We changed it. Sharon Rhodes is watching. And so hi to you, Sharon. I appreciate you guys for your support. Okay, moving right along. So tonight we're discussing dating by default part two. And last week, what happened was Katie was able to share with us her experiences about losing a loved one at an early um, stage in her marriage and at an early age. And so I found that the information that she had would really be helpful for someone else who may be at this point. And so she graciously um, said that she would come back because we filled up the first session time frame. And I know a lot of you guys are kind of antsy, and I try not to go past 20 to 30 minutes. And if I find myself going past that time frame, then I will have a part two. Okay. All right. So what I want to ask you tonight, Katie,
Yes.
going along with what we talked about last week, you know what? Just in case we have some new viewers, go ahead and take a few minutes and introduce yourself again.
Okay, great. My name is Katie Moore, and I am a state of Texas employee. I'm currently enrolled in college. I'm a cat mom, and I have a very noisy kitty cat tonight, so excuse him and his manners or lack thereof. And I shared last week that I am a young widow, and so Stacy has so sweetly invited me to come and share my story. And we are doing the second part of that tonight. Thank you for having me.
You're so very welcome. No, thank you. And hey, everyone that's following right now, thank you so much for your support. As I have to spend time getting technology together, and one day I'm going to have a team that can get in here and edit all of my food.
Yes.
But right now, it's me, and the food piles remain, and so I apologize. Okay, so my first question is, um, and excuse me, I put my cat out because she was very noisy. So I'm a cat owner too.
He
And
is a mess,
I,
so please excuse him.
I put her out so it wouldn't be so noisy. So with that being said, I want to know, how important did you find it to be? How important was knowing about insurance policies and anything that might have caught you off guard after the death of your husband? Like, kind of explain to us what things didn't you know about and that you needed to learn quickly about how to take care of your husband at his, when he had passed away.
Um, there was a great deal of information that I didn't know about. John was the first person in my immediate family who had passed away. So at the time, I mean, I had both sets of grandparents still alive, my parents, like aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. So when John passed away, I wasn't prepared for any of that. And fortunately, I had, again, with the support system of my sister, and also John's family was very, they really stepped in and helped me navigate, like, the preparations and their arrangements and things like that. I mean, really, you don't know about any of that until you walk through it, until you have firsthand experience of either having to make preparations for a loved one, or if for some reason you happen to work in that industry, you're ready. So to answer your question, we were not prepared at all. Though John had been ill for some time, we weren't expecting to go to the hospital and not come home together.
Mm.
And so when all that took place, my sister actually is the one who called our HR department and began getting the information together on how, to proceed with getting insurance and, things like that paid out that John had, made arrangements for when, through your employer, the benefits that you employer provided benefits and things like that. And so,
So it sounds as though you needed someone to help you navigate through this.
yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like I could not have done that myself at all.
Mhm.
I think that when you lose somebody, you know, fortunately, I was in a position where I could have somebody to take care of that for me. I recognize that like a lot of people have to be the ones to deal with that themselves on top of their grief or on top of being like so extremely bereaved or in shock or whatever the situation may be. So to have somebody help me navigate through that part of it and then everything moving forward really was critical in my ability to take care of those financial things that take place after a loved one passes away. And so, I mean, we did not have wills prepared, because we're in our 30s and like we didn't even have a chance to figure all that out, honestly. And I know that, some people do figure that out right away, but that just wasn't anything that was on our list of to-dos as it should have been. And so what followed after John's service, and navigating all the things after that, as far as like becoming the administrator to his estate and all kinds of things, took place. And if I had been prepared, or if we had been prepared in that way, then that would have been a step that was not necessary, because he would have passed away with a will.
So then, everyone, what she's saying is have a will.
Yes, I mean, be prepared. And honestly, I think you presenting that question to me really is like a takeaway for me as well, because even though I've walked through that myself, like I am not prepared in that way. If I were to pass away today, like I don't have anything set up. And so, that would be an additional burden probably on my family, by not taking the time or the responsibility of ensuring that my own affairs are in order. So that way, if something does happen, it's easy to put all that together. Um, and I know that those are hard conversations to have. Nobody wants to talk about it, but
But they're necessary.
They are necessary, yes. And so to your point, I am taking your advice and my own advice because I'm over here like, have a will, and then not having a will. And it doesn't matter. So, and I think part of that is because I'm like, okay, well, I'm here by myself, whatever, because I'm not married again yet. Jesus.
Yeah.
And I don't have children, but really at the end of the day, if and when that information is needed, it's important to have it for your family so that way they can easily take care of things if they need to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm saying that, of course, I'm the senior here, but Keith and I got a will, and it was almost like a part of the requirement being in the military, because military, I think, prepare you in a different way, because you don't know if a war is going to break out. And so with us, we had a will like from the beginning. And even if you know that you can update wills, guys. So even though you may think I don't have anything to put in a will, as you gain assets, you can always change your will as well. We've changed our will, I don't know how many times. And so but it's really important, because when your family is going through, you don't want to leave them with a hardship that may not be necessary because you didn't take the next steps in
Right.
making sure that you were okay. But again, like Katie said, no one. We always say tomorrow isn't promised, but no one really thinks that, you guys. And here's
Right.
the deal. Tomorrow really isn't promised. When you lay down tonight, we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. And that's
Right.
why we have to take full advantage of what's going on today. So
Yes.
if you don't have wheels, if you don't leave with anything else tonight, if you don't have a wheel, can you get one? Get one drawn.
So sorry.
Let's see. Okay, so Sheila Boyer is saying military provides structure. Sheila, yes, the military did and does provide us with structure. Okay, and they're saying true statements to the get a wheel. All right. Now, and so you've already answered my other questions as far as did you have help? Was it crucial? Yes, it was. Um, so then in that wheel, know that you can do this. You can say, I want to make sure that my sister is in charge of whatever, whatever. You can make her the executive over the wheel. And my mother has a wheel, and she also has a book with everything written out with full
Wow.
instruction. And you can do that. And I'm talking about all the way down to what she's going to wear, because I have gone to several funerals and I have had, I'm going to call it a blessing to sit in with one of my very best friends to help bury her mom. And so with that, I learned a lot. And it's so important for us to, and we don't want to talk about it, but it gets easier to know what your parents want, to know what your other half wants. So when the time comes, you're not trying to figure out, okay, now this is really funny. You're not trying to figure out if your mother wants to be buried in a bra or not. I'm just, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
detail, you guys. Do you want pantyhose on? And I know the pantyhose is old, but hey, you guys know I'm always on the road dealing with my parents. And so, but we've had those tough conversations, and it's really important. All right. I'm sorry, I strayed a little bit off topic, but I
That's
really want
okay.
you guys to know the importance of trying to be as prepared as you possibly can, because the people that you're leaving behind are going to be grieving. And the more you can help
Absolutely.
them while you're alive, the better off everyone will be. Okay. So
Can I
then,
just add to that, Stacy, really quickly? Okay. So I shared last time that I just had an incredible support system after John passed away. And, my sister, of course, was a pivotal part of that because she was there with me through a lot of it, including making those phone calls. But I even had, I found support as well, like through other friends. John's family also, but John's family was grieving very heavily as well. So a lot of that kind of thing, and as his wife fell on, to my responsibility. But I had another friend who helped me to navigate all of the paperwork. So it wasn't, you start making all the phone calls, but then all the paperwork starts to come in. And then, like trying to navigate that and make sense of all of this different paperwork. So I think if I had to like make just a suggestion to anybody, and I have shared this with people who have become widowed since my time becoming widowed, is to find somebody who is like, yes, they're experiencing the loss as well, but they're not grieving as heavily or as deeply as you are, to help you to navigate through making the phone calls, navigating the paperwork. This person who is just such a dear friend to me, he and his wife, his name is Sean. He actually provided a covering for me and continues to provide a covering for me. But Sean went as far as, going with me to probate court. When you die without a will, things don't just get passed off to your wife. You have to go through probate court and figure out, becoming an independent executor to the estate, and things like that. And that is a whole process that requires an attorney and a court date and all kinds of stuff. And so, really, if I had to say anything about any of that, it's to allow people to help you. You can't do all of the things, especially in the like state of emotions and mental fog and all the things that you may be experiencing.
Okay. Okay, everyone. A will and support. Someone that may not be a really good friend. Someone who can keep their composure and help you go through the process.
Yes.
What you're, yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Sheila Boyer is saying my parents had everything planned and paid for. I did have to select my mother's attire. The funeral asked us for undergarments, but this is all good to know. And it is. That's exactly why we're talking about it. It is good.
Yes.
And Sharon Rhodes is saying this is very good information. And you
Yes.
guys, that's exactly that's why I try to that's why I do this on Thursdays. I hope that I can bring information to those who are following. And so I really appreciate you guys that are on now. Okay, Ryan Coaxum is saying also make sure you have a POD on your bank accounts. Okay, Ryan, what is a POD? Okay, payable on death. Okay, thank you.
I didn't know about that.
Huh?
I didn't know about that. I mean, I didn't have to have that, I guess, but
Okay,
lots
okay.
of information.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan is our Ryan. Text in for me your title because I want to give you kudos. Ryan is a you guys. I have known him since he was a young man running around terrorizing the church. But he has turned out to be such a jewel, and he is so smart, and he is doing so well, and he gets awards in banking right and left. Uh, okay, it is okay. This POD supersedes the wheel in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Ryan, thank you. Can I give your bank a shout out? Ryan, pull that up somewhere. Okay, so I can call it out. Okay, he's vice president of business development and officer in Lindy. Yay! Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate sharing that information because, as you see, we didn't know, and that's
No, we
exactly
didn't.
why we do what we do. I want you guys to chime in and help us out here so we can help give others information that they may not know. So, Ryan, thank you so much. Okay, so then Now, tell me what is the hardest thing about dating now versus when you dated your husband? So that's
Um,
before and now. What's the hardest part?
I think the hardest part for me personally is just the difference in what it is that I'm looking for and what, like number one, the age difference, right? I'm much older than I was, in my early 20s and just barely starting to date John and, experiencing that at that age, and then now being close to 40. I mean, honestly, like I'm established on my own. I'm not trying to be, boastful or anything like that, but God blessed me with a home
That's
and
not being boastful. That's being truthful. Thank you. Go
thank you. So I'm really not looking for somebody to come in and take care of me like, to kind of save me, in other words. Like I'm looking for somebody to bring value or who brings value to my life and who I can grow a life and a future with. And when you're in your early 20s, you're kind of really not thinking about that probably, or at least not as deeply as you are when you're closer to 40, right? And so dating, as I mentioned last time, is a lot different. I actually did meet John online as well. However, we had a friend in common. And so it didn't feel so like stranger, like I was meeting a stranger because we shared this friend. Um, but, now it's really like I'm dating or meeting complete strangers.
Okay.
And that has been a challenge. I also mentioned last time that, trying to date according to God's, way or God's word in a hookup culture is a challenge. And, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who's listening that, especially those of you who might be dating, that some people are just very bold is what I'll say. And honestly, sometimes it borders on like the line of vulgarity and obscenity. And like, Stacey, you're making a face like that. You're just so dumbfounded, but that's literally what sometimes takes place. Like people, I feel like just the whole internet culture, you're behind a keyboard so you can say whatever it is that you want, that you probably would have no, like you would be so like you just would not say that to somebody in person. You know what I mean? So when you're sitting on the other side of a keyboard or messaging on your phone or whatever, you can say a whole wide array of things without any consequence, it feels like. And so
But to me, respect should still be there. If there is a keyboard or no keyboard, because
yeah.
the relationship is about respecting each other. So yes, I guess I am making this ugly face of, or either
No,
really,
not ugly, just like
just
astonished, I guess. Yes, absolutely. I feel like there should be a level of respect there. And I think that that starts with having self respect.
right.
And so people who, are not, who don't display a respect for themselves are going to act whatever kind of way. And this is like that in itself is just like a general topic of like, what is really going on in the world today? Like people are so hateful. Like I just can't stand it. And I don't understand it is what it is. But, I don't want to say all of that, like that people are just always sending out stuff like that. Because it's not all the time, or it's not every single person or anything like that. But for the ones that do, it really sticks out to you and it makes you feel discouraged. Like, is this what everybody is like? Or like,
Wow.
what happened to just being polite?
Well, we have, well, first I want to go back to what Ryan was telling us about the
Okay.
POD. So he said, technically, while you're going through probate, you can still use money in your account. That's what the POD is about.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay. And then Linda Robertson is saying people feel free to be vulgar behind a keyboard or screen. They probably I'm adding this, Linda. They're invincible and anonymous. And
Yes, that's exactly what it is, because they're complete
thank you, Linda.
strangers. They don't have any consequences to face. And some people, men or women, this is not just like, I'm going to bash all these guys, because that's not what it is. It's just people in general. Like if you were to meet somebody in person, you may say some things like that, I guess, but like that would be even worse to receive it in person. I feel like, okay, first of all, I don't even know you. And secondly, get away from me. Like, what is wrong with you?
But I thought the point was to get to know a person. So then really, if they're talking vulgar or if they're being disrespectful, do you want to even carry this relationship further?
No, Stacy, let me just clarify. This is not talking about relationships. This is talking about like when you're just matching up with people on dating apps, or when you're meeting people or trying to make a connection. Like if somebody, unless you were on that same page with that person to be like, whatever is taking place between the two of you, for some of those like super suggestive things to come out right out the gate, like, why are you doing that? I just told you good morning, like calm down.
Wow.
And again, that's not
everyone.
That's not everybody, and that's not like everybody's experience, and that's not even 100% what my experience is. I'm just saying that is
Is going
an
on.
additional challenge to the dating scene today, in comparison to what it was like before.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So I just want to be clear.
And you answered my question. It sounds rough out there, folks.
It's rough out there, folks. You married people, make it work, because you don't want to be on this side doing all of this.
Okay.
Honestly.
If you can't make it work, then you need to contact me. That's my
contact Stacy. And it's funny because I share, with some of my married girlfriends, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I'm like, well, I couldn't either until I was thrust into this situation. But, I think too, like, as I mentioned last time, it took me such a long time to start dating again. And I'm not even dating, I'm just meeting people. So I just want to say that first and foremost. But it's just one of those things that you don't think that you're going to need to get back into. And I would say that as well, like, oh my gosh, I never want to be put back out there again. Like, it's just too much, and it's just stressful, and whatever. And really it's like, well, this is what you're going to have to do, like we talked about earlier. Just taking the steps forward and trusting God with whoever comes. And I will say that whatever less than pleasant experiences that I've already had since I've started to put myself back out there a little more consistently, I guess, or more recently, is that it has continued to like help me become a stronger person, and to know, like, okay, if this person is saying this, you can't trust, you have to trust everything at a face value, take it with a grain of salt, all of those things, because you don't really know if somebody's being truthful and the words that they're speaking to you. Especially like, if you are connecting with somebody and then they start like laying it on heavy, like with all the niceties and like, you're so beautiful, and all this and that and the other. And that's not to say that you're not a beautiful person, but also just be cool and don't be uncool, as my BFF would say.
Okay. So you got a comment from a Carol Martinez Haynes.
Yes, that's my BFF.
Okay, she's saying make it work. Okay, and then
yes, make it work.
Okay, let's see. Deborah Bright is saying this is some good information. So again, hey, you guys, I appreciate the comments. You can keep them rolling. I'm going to stay on here for a few more minutes until I get the rest of my questions.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for taking over.
No, 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 no.
But this is real talk, Stacy. I mean, honestly, because I will just be extremely vulnerable and share this with you. The first time that, um, like I had matched with somebody and we were talking and, all the things, and it didn't progress in the way that I was hoping that it would, even though maybe I had even seen like all of the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm.
So, or just not even red flags, but just, things that you notice about people and whatever, like that was really disappointing for me because, I was excited and it felt new and, just all of these things. And God is so good because even though that was painful and challenging, it really did allow me to recognize that there were still some areas that I needed healing in for myself before I move into the real relationship that He has for me. And then that has also prepared me for the connections that I make with people moving forward. And that's where I can stand back, like, a few months from this experience to say, take everything with a grain of salt. And I remind myself that too, because it's very easy to like receive words and compliments and things like that and sweet things that you want to hear. And
Right.
but when there's there's nothing to support the sweet words, it just kind of is not the one.
Well, you guys, God teaches us discernment.
Yes. I
And
think He sharpened my spirit of discernment through that
yeah,
experience. Absolutely.
yes. Okay, you got some viewers coming in, Katie. You got a Sylvia and Garcia.
Hi, Sylvia.
God is with you. Just continue to trust Him and trust His plan for you. He wants the best for you. Keep being the amazing person God created. And
Thank you.
Clompton, beautiful.
Tamara.
She's saying, I'm just saying that. Okay, beautiful, Kate. And,
Thank you.
and Carol again is saying, Katie, you're truly amazing. God is working on you and preparing you.
Hmm.
And preparing you for something really great.
Yes.
And Sheila Boyer is saying, Katie, thank you for keeping it real.
You're welcome, Miss Sheila.
Keep praying and stay strong. And
Thank
so, again,
you.
guys, hey, we really appreciate you. We hope we said something that will help you this evening. And I have one more question.
Okay.
Okay. Life is about learning. And so, what would you say out of your tragedy that you learned that you didn't know before? And leave us with that answer. What have you learned from this whole experience? And I mean, from being married and then having your husband, losing your husband, and now going through the dating uh, scene. What have you learned about yourself that maybe you didn't know before you went through this experience? Because that's what life is all about, you guys. It's about learning. And then what do you do with what God has now given you as far as your experiences? Who have you shared it or how have you grown?
I mean, before John passed away, as I shared before, I had not experienced loss, and I was always, I mean, quite honestly, expecting it to be a grandparent, that would go first. And so anytime they were sick, I was just completely devastated because I thought that we were going to lose them. And, when it ended up being John, I think that when he passed away, I had a lot of guilt and regret for every single argument, every single, like annoyance or grievance or, anything like that. And it was in that moment that I recognized how important our interpersonal relationships with one another are, whether that's your spouse or whether that's honestly a person on the street, like how important it is to be kind to people and just respectful and also embrace each other's differences. I think, you know, John loves Star Wars and was real like into comic book movies, and I just did not see the fun in that and was just like, that's dumb, or, you know, whatever. And then when after he passed away, all I wanted to do was like be around his Star Wars stuff and, you know, things like that. So it was like I was trying to embrace him after he was already not here. And so I think that, you know, in relationships, it's so important to like, yes, you want to be one, but we're also independent of each other. And so it's important, you know, for us to have our own activities and our own hobbies and preferences and things like that, and just to let people be. And like, you know, there were this is completely vulnerable, but there were many times where I would be in the kitchen cooking and kind of frustrated because I'm in there cooking, I'm trying to hurry and whatever, and he would come up and like, you know, hug me, but because I'm all frustrated, then I'm just like, no, get off of me, you know, something like that. And not to be hateful, but that's just people, like we just do that, you know, without even really thinking about it. And so I'm like, I would always think of like, oh, I wish he were here to do that again, or, you know, whatever. So I think of everything that I learned was just, like I said, being able to operate in those relationships with one another, you know, loving one another through all the hard times, trying to extend grace as much as possible, especially, you know, in those marital disputes that we have.
Yes.
And then the thing that I did really learn about myself is I never thought that I would get through that ever. That was so hard. It was so hard. Um, and I'm just so grateful that of the support that I had around me, that everybody encouraged me through faith. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know how people who don't have faith get through things like that, because it was so hard. I really did not think that I was going to make it.
But
And
you
I didn't
made
have
it.
good days. You know, I had really hard days, and then I had some okay days.
Mhm.
And then, you know, as I've grown further away from that, like I have better and better and better days. And then there's a day that gets sad, and, you know, all of this stuff. It's like such a wide range of emotions. But honestly, I think that that was a reminder to me how important it is to be connected to God and to be connected to people who are going to encourage me with the truth. And
Mhm.
then I think it was also just God showing me that I'm a lot stronger than I think I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, sometimes, Katie, that's what it's all about. When you're weak, he reveals your strength because we have to, he wants us to rely on him
Yes.
for our strength because we can't do it alone. And we need our friends who are going to impart wisdom and
Yes.
positive energy
Yeah.
and who have faith like us, um,
Absolutely.
who can help us along the journey. And so, again, I just appreciate you being vulnerable and authentic because that's what I'm hearing. I want to go back because I want to give recognition to all of these people who are chiming in right now.
Thank you.
Um, Linda Robertson, who's saying, Katie, don't lower yourself in standards for any man. Stay true to who you are.
I know that's right, Miss Linda.
Vanessa is saying, yes, he sent me my husband after 21 years of being a widow.
Oh, wow.
So that's Miss Vanessa.
Thank you.
And then Tamara again is saying, bless you, baby. And Lindsay is saying, so proud of you. And Linda again is saying, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you so much for sharing. And so, from what I can see, tonight was a great night for us, Katie.
It was. Thank you.
You were strong just to go through this with me. And so, you're stronger uh, than you know. And that's probably for most of us. But a lot of us, we don't know how strong we are until we're in a spot where we have to roar like lions. And so you become
Right.
a lioness during
Right.
the journey. You know, you're I bet you're bolder and you're stronger and you're more confident. And
Yes.
you know, you probably know what you want and what you don't want, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so you continue to respect yourself so others can respect you,
Yes.
because people only treat you the way you allow them to treat you.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
That's my tidbit. Let's see. Sharon Rhodes is saying you are strong and you show it. And so keep it that way. You guys, I know we went a little long this evening, but I really hope that you enjoyed my special guest, Katie Moore. She has become, I'm going to say, a friend, and I'll be checking on you, Katie,
Yes, I would love that.
just to make sure that you're okay. And who knows, you guys, I might have another topic that I might feel that Katie would be great for. And so, don't be surprised if you see Katie back again for some other topic. But if something was shared tonight and you think it would help someone else, share this video. And
Yes.
again, I want to share with you that my purpose is to help married couples and premarital couples have a loving and a long lasting and a more fulfilling relationship, because you don't have to be in a relationship that is stagnant and that you're not enjoying. That is not what
Yes.
being with that person that you lay with every night is all about. You don't want to lay with that person and roll over and then be mad because they're still there. And then, like Katie said, and then when they're gone, now you're missing them. Okay. So let's not take that person for granted. Let's
Yeah.
appreciate our spouses and our mates, and let's remember that tomorrow is not promised, and that relationships are worth the work. And Katie, you touched a spot with me when you said you're in the kitchen and then they come up and they want to hug you and you say, get away, I'm trying to hurry up and cook or whatever.
Yeah.
I find myself doing that and I'm praying about that. And so when you said that, I felt like that was especially for me. So thank you for that comment.
You're welcome.
Again, just thank you for being here, period. Um, let's see. Deborah Bright is saying, I'm excited about what God has for you. Uh,
Thank you.
Valerie is saying she loved this interview. And what I want to say, you have a cousin, Lanita, Latoya,
Latina.
Latina. I have a special shout out for Latina because she messaged me on Messenger and I thought that was one of the sweetest messages that I've ever received since I've been doing these shows. So Latina, I really appreciate you and the
Yes.
comment that you made. You have brought so much to my space, Katie, and your viewers. I look, hey, are amazing. Your friends are amazing. My
They
friends
are.
are amazing. You guys, thank you so much. Again, if we said something that can help you, um, pass this video along. And if you ever need support or help in your marriage, you don't have to wait till you're throwing pots and pans at each other. If
For real.
you know, if you just want to have that fire back, that snap, crackle, pop back, communicate with me so I can help you get the zing back in your relationship. Okay.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Relationships are worth the work, and I will see you next week. I hope with a topic that was as exciting and interesting as this one. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Y'all have a good weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.